Welcome to Disruptive Minds. I'm your host, Jerome A. Carter, and the A stand for Always Learning. So this is a series I'm doing called Generational Curses. I already discussed the first generational curse, which is religion. People might want to push back on that. I understand. I totally understand. You want to push back, not my religion, not my God, not my blah, blah, blah. But you understand, if you were living in a different country, you would probably be in a different religion and doing different things. So because your what I call reps, your foundation to your mental is religion, environment, people, social media, it would be totally different. Moving on. Let's get a definition of generational curses so that we can move on to our number two generational curse. There are many generational curses. I'm just going to address 5. But first, we're going to do the definition. Again, generational curse, Rick and Morty, is a belief, a belief, a belief that negative patterns like addiction and mental health can be passed down through families. We just already did religion. This next one is going to be poverty and being poor. Yes, I have notes because I want to be very specific on what I'm talking about. So we're talking about poverty and being poor. The struggle thing. I struggle. People struggle. I struggle. We struggle. We struggle. We have no food. We eat syrup sandwiches. We beans and rice and this, that, and the other. There's this poverty mindset. Could be a generational curse mindset that we're passing down. We pass that down to our kids and so on and so forth. And where does that come from? Why are we passing down this poverty mindset? That is a generational curse. Yes, we can talk about our past, but when you're passing it down, no, it's too expensive. You can't have that, and no, we struggling and this, that, and the other. The kids adopt that and it starts dealing with money, where you have this subconscious thing about money. You can't get it out of your mind. Think about it like this: how many people have you ever read the studies where people who've hit the lottery, like 70, 80%, maybe higher, end up going bankrupt? Because your mindset about money is they got to be poor. So your subconsciously is going to make you poor, even though you have a lot of money. That's a generational curse. Remember, generational curse is a belief. It has to do with mental health. Let's keep it moving. You're being passed down that you're always in survival mode. You're always surviving. There's like we're always surviving. We're surviving. We're surviving. We're survival. We're surviving this. We're surviving that. We're surviving. You're constantly in survival mode. Survival mode is like fight or flight. It causes stress, heart disease. It causes high blood pressure. All these things because you're always like, I gotta wake up. I gotta fight. Gotta fight. There's always somebody to fight. Gotta fight the man. Gotta fight the system. And you're constantly feeling this every day. You're always in this survival mode. I gotta make it through the night. I gotta do it. That's stress. That's stressful. And that's being passed down from our generations. When you're just relaxing, you ever relax and not do nothing? But your brain is like, gotta be doing something. What are you doing? Why are you just sitting there? We gotta be hustling. We gotta get this money. And you're just like in this constant, I gotta be doing something mode. That's stress. How do people cope with that? What I call the 5 coping skills, which is sex, alcohol, drugs, food, and work. Because they can't relax. They're not allowed to just sit back and just breathe. Just let the mind wander. When's the last time you daydream? Remember in school you used to daydream, just let your mind just wander about things. But today it's like, oh, I gotta get the money, I got bills. What are you doing? It's constantly having stress. When did struggle become a badge of honor? When do we put this in out there in the generations that we have these like struggle games? Who struggled the most? Why? Oh, y'all had a TV, we didn't have a TV. Oh, y'all had electricity, we didn't have no electricity. When did this become like a badge of honor to prove how much you struggle? And you pass that down to your kids. Oh, when I was young, we didn't have that. Y'all could play, we got to do that. It's cool to say it, but to make the kids feel guilty about it is a different story. I may say that to my kids, man, we didn't have that when you was younger, but we about to go do it. That's different than constantly making them feel guilty about relaxing, about just sitting back and enjoying life, just playing with cars and oh, we had no food and you wasting food. And I'm gonna talk about that. It's coming soon. That's another generational curse, food. Let's keep it moving. You take the time to look at life and the life of your family members. The whole family struggle. But like I added this part, there are always different parts of the family. Bernie Mac talked about it. We got the aunt who's up here and treat people like they're down here. That's what that means. There's different parts of the family. Parts of the family are doing better than other parts of the family. Why is that? It's a mindset. We're not all thinking the same way. So it's affecting you as a generational curse may not be affecting them. See, there's a difference there. We have to know that as a family unit. And what can we do to help the other family members? But that's going to be a problem. Generational curses are very strong because they're a belief. If the belief is in your subconscious, which goes back to your religion, environment, people, social media. How many of you have a plan and no execution? Meaning, with the poverty mindset, the being poor mindset, you have a lot of plans. You have plans, you're like, I'm going to do this, I'm going to t-shirts, I'm going to hustle with this, hustle with that. And what happens is the endorphins are being pumped out. They're being pumped out in your brain. You're like, oh yeah, well, it sounds good. But when it comes to actually executing on the plan, it just drops. The endorphins in your mind, you've already accomplished what you want to do. But actually applying yourself and executing on that, it starts to go down. Where does that come from? Where does that come from? Because now you have to do something. It messes with your mind, the poverty, the poorness. Well, if I get rich, I'm gonna leave people behind and this, that, and the other. And subconsciously your brain's like, we're not gonna do that. Your mind's not gonna let you do it because you're so locked in. I'm gonna talk about people in the future. When it comes to generational curses, people can be generational curses, all within themselves. And we're not talking spirits, all this evil stuff, but let's move on from that. So, how many people in your family own land, property, or cars? Actually, own them. They have the title saying, "I own this." You start sitting back and thinking about these things, you realize this is generational, and we're passing that down to our kids. We don't own anything. Even if you own 1 acre of land somewhere, you don't own it. You own your car, you don't own it. Your house, you're definitely not gonna have that. Nowadays, owning a house, you gotta be pretty wealthy. But that poor poverty mindset is always gonna be, well, somebody's holding me down, this is not gonna work, and this, that, and the other. You're gonna defeat yourself before you even start it, because you already have the poor poverty mindset. It affects you in so many different levels, you don't even know it. That's how strong it is with these generational curses. How many people are doing well, female side of the family? Now, we talk about the female side of the family versus the male side of the family. Things are going to be different because they think we're equal. We're not equal. Females are going to be treated differently by the system versus being males will be treated differently by the system. So for things that they're getting that men can't get, it gives them the impression that y'all just need to work harder to get it versus the actual system bending to their will. Poverty, being poor, all these things are factors. We're talking about money. How many of you are on the merry-go-round? What I mean by the merry-go-round is when you're talking about people who are confusing motion with progress. That's what I mean by the merry-go-round. You're confusing motion with progress, meaning because you're moving, you think you're progressing. A merry-go-round goes in a circle. You're not progressing. You're moving forward. The days are going to keep moving forward, whether you do anything or not. If most people base themselves around events, celebrations, especially if they have kids, birthdays, and there's school, and there's summer vacation, and there's all these different things that you're basing yourself around. And you think that you're progressing when really you're just on the merry-go-round. I mean, it's the same 12 months, same holidays. How are you progressing? How are you different this year than you was 2 years ago? I'm saying 2 years ago, not even last year. 2 years ago, how are you different? Well, because you moved somewhere, you maybe bought a car, maybe lost a car. How are you actually different? How is your mental different? Have you read any books since then? Have you took time for yourself? Have you got yourself in better physical health? How are you different other than the fact that you're just going through the holidays, going through with the kids, the grandkids, whatever. You're just going through the motions. But how are you different? And you're going to tell me, I'm going to be different. No, you're not. Breaking generational curses. You want to break a generational curse, you click the link. You get the system that's called Breaking Generational Curses. That's step one. Just get your mind moving. Get your mind to understand how to break generational curses. Step two is the reset. The reset is a step up from breaking generational curses. You want to get started as soon as possible. It takes 66 days for a routine to become a habit. And that depends on the person. It could take up to a year. Like, man, I got time and this, that, and the other. I'm just a messenger. Last but not least, it is what it is. People feel defeated because they have had that person to encourage them to do more. So it's always, it is what it is. I mean, I'm just going to live life day by day, man. It is what it is. Once I get people get that mindset, I immediately distance myself because it's a waste to try to talk to them. As I said in my older videos, you can't pour new wine into old skins. It's just going to spill. Once people are locked into what they believe, it's okay.